Today's video is about one of the most explosive and downright humiliating Senate moments for Bernie Sanders. The man came in swinging, but walked right into a wall of facts from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. If you thought Bernie was untouchable in these hearings, wait until you see this one. This was not a debate. It was a demolition. Now let's get into the main video.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Thanks, Mr. Bessent, for being here. Help me out here. My understanding is the Trump administration has, I think, 13 billionaires in office right now, leading government agencies. Is that about right, do you think?
I have no idea, Senator.
I think that's what the number is. Do you think it's a coincidence, given the large number of billionaires in the Trump administration, that this particular piece of legislation would provide $235 billion in tax breaks to the top 0.2% by expanding the exemptions in the estate tax?
Senator, I will tell you that when the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act passed, my tax rate went up.
Well, I don't know your exact situation, but I can tell you. Tell me about how many people do you think are in the top 0.2%?
Sorry?
Number of people in the top 0.2% who would benefit from this particular $235 billion tax break?
Well, I know the top 10% is
right.
now paying 7%.
That's not the question.
The total tax.
My question is, why do you think at a time of unprecedented income and wealth inequality, when people like yourself economically have never, ever had it so good, why do you think it's a good idea to cut Medicaid for low-income and working-class people by $700 billion to give $235 billion in tax breaks to the very, very, very richest people in this country, perhaps a few hundred families? Please justify that and tell me about that.
Well, Senator, I don't know, but the Democrats had the trifecta, and there was no tax increase or wealth tax on billionaires. You choose.
I'm not talking about a tax.
You chose not to do that.
Mr. Bessent, I am not talking about a wealth tax. Explain. A few hundred of the wealthiest families in this country, $235 billion tax break. Explain to the American people why you think that's a great idea.
I think that this will increase small businesses substantially. That most small businesses, they are...
Has zero to do, come on, you're smarter than that. This is the top 0.2%. This is not a mom and pop store. These are multi-billionaires, and the savings go to their kids after they pass away. This is nothing more than a gift to billionaires in this country.
Well, sir, that's just not correct, because the top 10% paid a bigger share of taxes after TCJA.
I'm talking about one provision in this. I don't want to argue with you about taxes in general. One provision, few hundred families, $235 billion in tax breaks. You can't justify that because morally it is totally unjustifiable. Let me ask you another question. If you guys want to cut $1 trillion in Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act, the estimate from CBO, I believe, is that over 15 million people lose their health insurance. Yale University and the University of Pennsylvania estimated that when you throw that many low-income and working-class people off of health care, some 50,000 people a year will die. Tell me why you think it's a good idea to give tax breaks to billionaires and allow 50,000 low-income and working-class people to die unnecessarily?
Senator, first of all, that's overstated by 5.1 million. That is not attributed to this bill. It is simply...
It's a combination. That's true.
No. You all had a scheduled expiration of Obamacare subsidies, and you did not extend that when you were in charge. 5.1 million. 1.4 million illegal aliens on Medicaid.
All right, look,
and there are work requirements. And our goal is to get more money to children and mothers.
Really? Your goal is to get more money to children, and working people. Really, come on. Do you know how many people, and I was surprised to hear this, I don't know if you know it or not, how many people lose their jobs every year, quit, get fired or whatever? Do you have any idea?
Well, there's something called the quits rate, and so when the job market is strong, more people quit.
But yeah, I was surprised that I just researched this. I don't know. Do you happen to know?
I don't know the number.
I was surprised. Would it be shocking to you? It was to me. 20 million people leave their jobs a year. Doesn't shock you, right? It's a big labor force, right?
Yep.
So somebody leaves the job, maybe they move, maybe something happens in their lives, right? We have a lot of transition in the labor market, correct?
Maybe they get a better job.
Right, exactly, maybe they do. Or maybe they have to stay home, their wife gets sick, whatever, we don't know. But 20 million people lose their jobs in a given year, leave their jobs in a given year. Are those people lazy? What happens when I leave my job and maybe I have to move to another state to take care of my ill mother, and I desperately need Medicaid? Am I too lazy now to be able to get Medicaid?
I think that's a mischaracterization of the work requirement.
It starts off with Bernie doing what Bernie always does, shouting about billionaires, wealth inequality, and doom and gloom predictions. He slams the Trump administration, saying they're giving $235 billion in tax breaks to the top 0.2% while cutting Medicaid. Then he drops one of his dramatic lines. Tell me why you think it's a good idea to give tax breaks to billionaires and let 50,000 people die unnecessarily. But here's the thing, it didn't land. Not this time. Scott Bessent, calm and composed, just looks at him and says, Senator, that's overstated by 5.1 million. That is not attributed to this bill. Boom. Straight facts. No emotion, no theatrics, just numbers. Then Bessent reminds Bernie that under the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, the top 10% actually paid a larger share of federal taxes. In other words, the rich didn't get off easy, they paid more. You could almost see Bernie's face tighten when the data didn't match his talking points. Bernie, clearly rattled, tries to pivot, bringing up billionaires in the Trump administration and claiming they're running government agencies for the wealthy, but Bessent fires back again. When Democrats had full control, there was no wealth tax, no major tax increase on billionaires. You had the power, and you didn't do it. Ouch. The room goes quiet. Bernie tries to interrupt, but Bessent doesn't budge. He keeps hitting him with logic and real-world facts. That's when Bernie turns to healthcare, trying to claim that 15 million people would lose coverage and 50,000 would die each year. Bessent isn't having it. He calmly breaks down the truth. Those numbers are inflated, Senator. Obamacare subsidies were set to expire, and you didn't extend them when you were in charge. Then he drops the hammer. There are 1.4 million illegal immigrants on Medicaid. We're introducing work requirements so funds actually go to children and working families who need it. Bernie scoffs, but you can feel he's losing control of the argument. His emotion is no match for the data coming his way. In a last-ditch effort, Bernie tries to make it emotional, saying millions of people lose their jobs each year, and questioning whether they're lazy. But Bessent shuts that down instantly. That's a mischaracterization, Senator. Work requirements are about accountability, not punishment. We're keeping Medicaid sustainable for families who depend on it. By this point, it's not even a debate, it's a schooling. Bessent dismantled every one of Bernie's talking points with calm precision, while Bernie kept yelling over him like a man running out of steam. At the end of the hearing, the contrast couldn't be clearer. One man brought emotion, the other brought facts. Bernie tried to make it about class warfare, but Scott Bessent turned it into a masterclass in fiscal reality. If you're tired of the same old socialist talking points falling apart under pressure, this hearing was pure gold. Make sure to subscribe right now for more breakdowns of epic political showdowns like this. Hit like, and let me know in the comments, who do you think won this debate? Spoiler, it wasn't Bernie.